Thank you for joining me for this week, week 7 of this midweek moments where I've been talking about the spiritual disciplines, ancient spiritual disciplines that can make you stronger. Today I want to talk to you about solitude and silence. Solitude and silence, these two spiritual disciplines, which are a little different, but when combined can be very, very powerful. The amazing thing about these disciplines is they have been championed and cheered by the ancients. If you think about it, it was Moses and David. It was Jesus himself and Paul, who through periods of solitude and silence received revelations from God. But not just that. Poets and philosophers like Byron and Shelley and Thoreau, they've championed and cheered on other people who would pull away. And they said some of their greatest thinking and work was done with solitude and silence. But you know there are leaders as well who have said it was in moments of solitude and silence that they were led to be able to decide some historic, vital decisions that impacted our planet. Winston Churchill, President Ulysses S. Grant, Lincoln, Kennedy. These were leaders who through solitude and silence prayerfully discerned and made key decisions that affected the course of history. So today as we talk about this, I just want to at the outset say it, what you already know. In our very busy world with so much noise, solitude and silence seem very much harder and harder to come by for the average person. Let me take just a few moments to define these two things for you very concretely. When I think about solitude, what I think about as a definition is really a state of mind and a state of heart where you're giving inward attentiveness to what's going on inside of you. So you really don't have to be alone. Normally when we think of solitude, we're thinking about all by yourself. You can be in a crowd of people and have a state of mind and a state of heart where you're paying attention to the inward soul. That's what solitude is all about. But silence. Silence is really, by definition, when we're thinking about a spiritual discipline, I would describe it as this. It's the quieting of external noise. It's cutting off external input that just comes at you. Silence is being able to get away from all the noise, quiet it down. And when you put silence, the quieting of external noise, with solitude, a state of mind that gives you inward attentiveness to the soul, it can be very, very powerful. Now, there's lots of ways that you can practice this spiritual discipline. And so just to get your mind thinking today, let me give you just 2 or 3 ways to think about how you can find solitude and silence in such a busy, noisy, bustling world. One of the first things I would say to you is to turn off input, especially our phones. Just get that stuff away from you if you're going to have a time of trying to practice this spiritual discipline. Make sure you shut off all external input so that you can really focus in upon this spiritual discipline. And then the second thing I would say to you is consecrate the time. If it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour, whatever it is, consecrate it to this holy purpose of listening for God's voice and paying attention to your own soul. And then thirdly, when you think about the environment that you might do this in, let me give you some very practical things. Sometimes I just practice silence and solitude when I'm driving down the road. I cut off the radio, I just get really quiet in my car, and I begin to pay attention to God's voice and the Holy Spirit speaking inside of me. If Atlanta traffic keeps you from doing that very easily, maybe you would just, wherever you're going to go, use your car again as a sanctuary. Just when you stop, turn off the ignition, and before you jump out of the car and go wherever you're going, just create a sanctuary in that car where you just devote that time to silence and solitude, paying attention and listening. Another idea I heard somebody say the other day is go to your closet. That may sound kind of weird, but go get in your closet. It's normally a quiet place. You don't have anybody walking through your closet, right? And you can shut down the world by just going to your closet and getting in that space. Or how about this one? You want to really step it out? Go to a church. Just go to a local church and ask if it's okay for you to walk in and just find some place to pray. You know what? Even the action of that, I think, invites God's Holy Spirit, and you'll be able to pay greater attention to your own soul and to God. Maybe the most important thing about solitude and silence are our ears. That we listen in this special place. Find a place, that special place, wherever it is, that you can listen to God, pay attention, put away all external output, and in the process, allow God's Spirit to renew you. You'll turn around in a moment's notice, and you'll find yourself getting stronger.